Welcome to another video by Psychology for Life. Are you in the process of selecting your research approach or considering online research? Well, you've come to the right video. According to Creswell and Creswell, there are three main components involved in a research approach. Research approaches involve an intersection of philosophy, research design, and specific methods. Let us consider philosophical worldviews first. Worldviews are the general philosophical orientation about the world and the nature of research that a researcher brings to a study. The first worldview we will consider is the post-positivist worldview. The positivist assumptions have represented the traditional form of research, and these assumptions hold true more for quantitative research than qualitative research. This worldview is sometimes called the scientific method. This last term, post-positivism, represents the thinking after positivism, challenging the traditional notion of the absolute truth of knowledge and recognizing that we cannot be absolutely positive about our claims of knowledge when studying the behavior and actions of humans. The problems studied by post-positivists reflect the need to identify and assess the causes that influence outcomes, such as those found in experiments. Post-positivists generally start out with theories from which they derive hypotheses. They then construct experiments in which they test these hypotheses. They try to see if the results of the experimentation will confirm the predictions of the theory. The next worldview we will consider is the Constructivist Worldview. This worldview emphasizes that human beings construct meanings as they engage with the world they are interpreting. Qualitative researchers tend to use open-ended questions so that participants can share their views. The next worldview is the Transformative Worldview. This worldview holds that research inquiry needs to be intertwined with politics and a political change agenda to confront social oppression at whatever levels it occurs. Thus, the research contains an action agenda for reform that may change lives of the participants, the institutions in which individuals work or live, and the researcher's own life. The last worldview is the Pragmatic Worldview. Pragmatism is not committed to any one system of philosophy and reality. This is the worldview usually used by mixed method researchers. There is a concern with applications, whatever works, and solutions to problems. Instead of focusing on methods, researchers emphasize the research problem in question and use all approaches available to understand the problem. Now let us discuss the three main research approaches, which are quantitative, qualitative, and mixed methods approaches. Within each of these approaches are different research designs. The designs available to the researcher have grown over the years as computer technology has advanced our data analysis and ability to analyze complex models, and as individuals have articulated new procedures for conducting social science research. The first research approach is the quantitative research. It is an approach for testing objective theories by examining the relationships among variables. Variables can then be measured using instruments that can produce scores that can be analyzed using statistics. The second research approach is qualitative research. This is an approach for exploring and understanding the meanings individuals or groups ascribe to a social or human problem or experience. The third research approach is the mixed methods research approach. It is an approach to inquiry involving collecting both quantitative and qualitative data, integrating the two forms of data, and using distinct designs that may involve philosophical assumptions and theoretical frameworks. As mentioned earlier, each research approach involves several different kinds of research designs. Research designs are the types of inquiry within qualitative, quantitative, and mixed methods approaches that provide specific direction for procedures in a research study. Some examples of the quantitative research designs are experimental designs, non-experimental designs such as surveys, and longitudinal designs. On the other hand, qualitative research designs include narrative research, phenomenology, grounded theory, ethnographies, and case studies. Finally, some examples of mixed method research are convergent, explanatory sequential, exploratory sequential, complex designs with embedded core designs. Now let us consider online research. The internet and the widespread diffusion of personal computing have the potential for unparalleled impact on the conduct of psychological research. Online psychological research is similar to traditional research when it comes to philosophical stance and research design. However, there are important differences when it comes to research methodology. It also has different advantages and disadvantages compared to traditional research. One of the advantages of online research is in the area of subject recruitment. Use of the internet decreases the cost of recruiting large, diverse, or specialized samples of research subjects for either surveys or online experiments. The next advantage of online research is observing social behavior. The internet provides scientists interested in social behavior with many archives of communication. Many online forums make visible psychological phenomena that would be much more difficult to study in traditional settings. Another advantage of online research is access to other archival data. The detailed transaction logs that people leave when using the internet provide a wealth of detailed, unobtrusive data for phenomena other than social behavior. Another great advantage of online research is automation and experimental control. One of the benefits of online research is that it allows automation and experimental control that can be otherwise difficult to achieve without the use of computers. Not only can the internet increase the efficiency of studying traditional psychological phenomena, its use is also an important phenomenon in its own right. Now let us look at the challenges to internet research. Most of the challenges can be categorized under data quality and protection of human subjects. One of the biggest challenges to internet research in terms of data quality are sampling biases. This is because of the large gap between internet users and non-internet users. Generalizing from internet samples to the larger population is especially problematic because of this. Another kind of bias arises from differences in the use of social media by gender. This map shows us the differences in percentage between males and females in the use of social media. Another challenge to internet research with regard to data quality is lack of control over data collection setting. When conducting surveys and experiments online, researchers lose control over the environment in which the research is conducted. When the researcher decides to collect data online, much of the monitoring and control is difficult, if not impossible. One of the challenges to internet research involves the protection of human subjects. Determining whether an individual is identifiable or anonymous has implications for the risks subjects are exposed to, whether the research is exempt from human subject regulations, and whether the research is even defined as involving human subjects at all. Another challenge to internet research under the protection of human subjects is determining whether online behavior is public or private behavior. Whether behavior should be considered public or private has implications for the ethical use of data. Aside from those mentioned earlier, another challenge to internet research involving the protection of human subjects is the possible harm as a consequence of online participation. One such example is emotional reactions to questions or experimental manipulations. Another challenge to internet research is that participants' information may be unwittingly exposed to malicious or exploitative persons. Another area that is difficult for internet research is the area of debriefing. Ethical guidelines call for debriefing subjects, especially if deception was involved. Debriefing is providing an explanation of the nature, results, and conclusions of the research. Appropriate debriefing in online research may be difficult. Researchers usually obtain the informed consent of participants in which they freely agree to participate after they understand what the research involves and its risks and benefits. The lack of interactivity in online research means that the investigator often cannot tell whether a subject understood the informed consent statement. It is also difficult to obtain their signed consent. Perhaps a greater risk of online research comes from the possible disclosure of identifiable private information outside of the research context, not from the experience of participating in the research itself. And there you have it. I hope that this short video has helped you determine the right research approach for your future research project. The references for this video are the following. Credits to Pixabay for the wonderful pictures contained in this video. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe.